The boast. The bar on Station K9 was dimly lit, filled with a hum of translation implants and the faint thrum of docking thrusters. The air smelled of ozone, oil, and 1,000 different alien scents that mingled into something both familiar and foreign. At the center table sat Captain Razkor, a broad-shouldered mercenary from the Scarrath Dominion. His scales shimmered like forged iron, and his laughter echoed across the room as he slammed his mug onto the metal counter. "You've never known sport," he growled, his voice a low rumble, "until you've hunted Deathworlders." That word, Deathworlders, drew attention. Every spacer knew what it meant. It referred to species from planets so dangerous that everything that evolved there had to be fast, clever, and nearly unkillable just to survive. And among them, the worst of all, the apex predators of the galaxy, were humans. A hush rippled through the bar. Some looked intrigued. Others turned away, unwilling to touch the subject. But Razkor basked in the attention. "You mean humans?" a voice asked softly. The question. The speaker was a woman sitting at the far end of the bar. She looked human, short, unarmored, with brown skin and eyes that caught the light like polished amber. Her voice was calm, curious, not confrontational. Razkor grinned, revealing teeth sharp enough to slice hide. "Aye, the Terrans, the ones who call themselves human. Dangerous, yes, but not invincible." He leaned forward, his claws tapping the table. "I've hunted 3 of them. Strong prey, quick thinkers, but in the end, they all fell." The bar murmured again, shock, disbelief, maybe a hint of disgust. Few boasted about hunting sapients. But mercenaries were a different breed. The woman tilted her head. "And how did you kill them?" Razkor's grin widened. "Traps. Patience. They think fast, but they bleed all the same." She nodded, her face unreadable. "So you outsmarted them?" "Of course," he said. "I am Scarrath, born of the hunt. We do not fear Deathworlders." She took a sip of her drink, eyes never leaving him. Then she asked a question that would silence the room. "Tell me, Captain, did any of them hunt you?" The silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. Even the hum of the station seemed to fade. Razkor's grin faltered. "What?" Her tone didn't change, but her gaze sharpened. "You said you hunted them, but did any of them hunt you?" He shifted, claws flexing on the table. "They ran. They hid. They tried to fight. But—" She interrupted. "No, that's not hunting. That's surviving. I'm asking if any of them came for you." The room's temperature seemed to drop. Razkor felt something twist in his gut, a flicker of an old memory he'd buried under blood and bravado. A jungle, the smell of burning ozone, the scream of plasma fire, and behind him, footsteps. Not the heavy tread of prey fleeing, the quiet, deliberate steps of something stalking. The memory. He remembered the first one, a human soldier on the jungle world of Ref 9. She had gone silent after his ambush. He thought she bled out. Then, hours later, as his team relaxed, something moved in the dark. A tripwire snapped. A grenade rolled into the clearing. His second-in-command vanished in fire. She was wounded. Razkor muttered now, half to himself. Shouldn't have been able to fight. The woman at the bar said nothing. But she did. She hunted me through the night, picked us off one by one. When dawn came, I found her body a few meters from the river. She died smiling. The bar was utterly still. He tried to shake it off. "But she was one of 3, he said, forcing a laugh that didn't quite reach his eyes. "The others weren't so." "Weren't so what?" the woman asked quietly. "Human." The realization. He blinked. "What are you?" She stood then, slowly setting her glass down with care. She didn't look dangerous. No armor, no weapon. Yet every motion was deliberate, every step balanced. "You call us Deathworlders because we survive things that would kill you," she said softly. "But you don't understand. Survival is our hunt." Her eyes locked onto his, and suddenly Razcor knew. He knew because he'd seen that same look once before, in the eyes of a dying soldier who refused to die afraid. "You're human," he whispered. She smiled. Was it the eyes that gave me away, or the silence? The turn. The mercenaries at the table went rigid. Someone reached for a weapon, but she didn't flinch. "Relax," she said, her tone even. "I'm not here to avenge anyone. I'm here to understand why you think killing us makes you strong." Razcor's throat was dry. "Because you're dangerous." "Everything worth hunting is," she replied. "But we're not dangerous because we kill. We're dangerous because we endure." Her voice carried across the bar, low and steady. "You hunt with traps. We hunt with will. You strike from safety. We wait until the storm passes, and then we walk through it." She leaned closer. "That's a difference between predators and survivors. Predators fear hunger. Survivors use it." The challenge. The room held its breath. Razcor, once a loudest voice in the bar, sat silent. His claws tapped the table again, slower this time. "So what are you saying?" he rasped. "That humans are better?" She shook her head. "Not better, just older in the ways that matter. We've been prey before. We learned to think like predators long before we built ships." Then her smile returned, small, knowing, and a little sad. "And when someone decides to hunt us, they tend to forget that humans wrote the first rule of the galaxy." He frowned. "And what rule is that?" She stepped closer, her shadow falling across him. "Never start a hunt you're not ready to finish." The departure. With that, she turned and walked toward the door. No weapons drawn, no threats made. The crowd parted instinctively. Razcor sat frozen, replaying every word, every memory. The jungle, the footsteps, the silence before the strike. He realized now that he hadn't hunted Deathworlders. He'd merely survived them. The woman disappeared into the station's corridors, her boots echoing like distant thunder, and in her wake, the great hunter of Deathworlders understood, for the first time, what it truly meant to be hunted. Epilogue, the lesson of the hunt. Later, when the bar returned to its usual noise, someone whispered, "Who was she?" The barkeep, a grizzled old spacer who'd seen everything, wiped a glass and said quietly, "A survivor. Maybe the last kind of hunter this galaxy will ever know." Razcor never bragged again. When he spoke of Deathworlders, it was with the respect one gives to storms or black holes, forces of nature that could destroy, or simply move on, depending on how wisely you acted. And somewhere, across the cold expanse of space, another Deathworlder walked alone under alien stars, smiling softly to herself, because she knew that the galaxy had finally remembered something important. Predators hunt for sport. Deathworlders hunt to live.